Welcome to If I Only Had 10 Minutes. I'm Jane Randall, one of the partners in Comms Collective, and I'm here with Jim Weiss. Jim, introduce yourself.
Hi, Jane. I know you for many years through friends and colleagues. I am excited to be on your podcast. Thank you. After doing a lot of fractional work myself, after leaving the corporate world, I ended up starting a firm in 2001. We're in year 25. That's now called Real Chemistry. It's been called a lot of things, but this is an exciting anniversary year for Real Chemistry. And I act as the chairman of the board for that company and doing lots of other things, but that's probably the primary and premier thing.
25 years, wow.
I know I don't look like I could have something for that
You
long, huh?
don't. You don't. Wow. It hasn't aged you at all.
No, not at all.
All right, let's launch in. How do you see the rise of fractional work reshaping communications teams over the next few years?
I mean, I've been attracted to this idea since we talked about it. I mean, even before. I mean, I really started my business based on a fractional model.
Right.
And so I think I love it because it gives you ultimate flexibility and I think agency to figure out what's next if you're between jobs. But I think in a very fast-paced, fast-changing world where moves are made so quickly and everything's, at the speed of I think this fractional approach is going to be even more of a common theme.
What do you think people don't understand about it?
I think people don't understand that in the fractional setting, you can actually have a lot of big impact. I think a lot of people think of it as a part-time job, and
Right.
that's not really what it is. I mean, you're really playing a role within an organization that may not need, somebody 5 to 7 days a week. But you kind of can work at your own pace and also adapt during that time. I mean, I'm sure many a fractional thing turns into a full-time thing. But I think there's a lot of us who, particularly many of us who've come out of the agency world, we like variety.
Yeah.
And, I know that was my thing. I didn't want to have just one thing I relied on or one thing I depended on. I didn't want to take that home every day,
Right.
always. But
Yep.
that's why the fractional thing's attractive.
Well, you brought up AI, so now we have to talk about AI. How do you think AI is changing what it means to be a great communicator?
Well, I've said all along, we've had data and analytics
Yeah.
and technology in my firm since we started. I feel like tech changes everything. I mean, having done a lot relative to search and search optimization, we've been in the AI world since Google, since the dawn of Google and
Right.
search and all of that. This is just, I think, now our next generation and iteration. And I just think it's just so wide ranging and so impactful that, I think it's ultimately going to make us better if we
Right.
leverage it well. I mean, I've had a Gym AI bot since we really started this whole thing. We have a AI platform we're now adapting into a new one because we bought
Right.
some firms focused in media. So I'm, bullish about it. I've had people on my podcast talking about it with me, and I'll have many more to help, I think, destigmatize it. Because
Yeah.
I think
Well,
what's happened, of course, it's polarized. You're for it
right.
or against. It's like, come on, guys, like this is happening.
Right.
We can figure this out. It's new technology that's going to make what you do, more scalable, more powerful, more high reach. I think, it's all going to feel very fast. That's the one thing it's done. Of course, everything feels
Yeah.
speedier. But I already use it, and boy, do I get good answers, And I even obviously we use it a lot in healthcare. I think it's going to be a real powerful tool in the consumerization and the empowerment of patients in healthcare.
What scares you about it?
I mean, some people send me really weird pictures of myself that they've AI'd and, created these awful animations. I mean, I think it's that, of course, that you
Right.
can manipulate
Yeah.
voices and people and make fool people into thinking, it's just another form of scamming, and I think that's the piece I worry about. I don't really have this idea that robots are going to be able to think, with high judgment,
Yeah.
and do certain things. I mean, I think maybe that'll happen way down the road, and I think we can manage that. And we know all the sci-fi movies that have warned about that for a long
Yeah.
time, and we hear the big tech guys all and investors all saying robots are going to take over. But, I mean, can they really fold clothes the way you want? I don't really think so. There's a really certain way to folding your t-shirts and, I think, but I have heard that CES there was this robot that was folding clothes in addition to doing laundry. So we'll have to see. At the end of the day, we all want human connection. We all appreciate that.
Right. No, I think that's fair. So, if you can make a rule in communications that everyone had to follow for just a week, what would it be?
I mean, keep it real. I mean, it is my brand, but I mean, keep it real. Like, don't take everything so seriously. I've heard something I really love lately, which is let's organize and let's avoid agonizing. So
Oh,
I think that's something I've really been holding on to. So that'd probably be my favorite: organize versus agonize.
yeah, that's a really good rule, actually. Um, what's a compliment that you've received that has stuck with you?
I think that probably my favorite compliment came from my mommy, way long ago, where she said, anything you put your mind to, you're able to do. Now, that was a bit of advice, but also, I believe, very much a compliment, and that informed my make it happen ethos.
Oh, that's nice. I love that.
And, I think. I definitely feel like most of the good compliments came back in the day. Um, I got
Nice.
one kind of recently, being 60 and single, that I really like, but I don't
Yeah.
have to share it
Oh,
here.
it's great. Okay.
But it's very nice, and it kind of makes you feel like, oh yeah, there's still life in the old dog yet.
Okay. I really want to probe, but I will not. And maybe that was the wrong
No,
word.
it's really
Um,
it's very PG. No
okay,
worries.
fine. Um, what is a hobby or interest of yours that you think people would be surprised to learn about?
I think whenever we do those games where tell people something you've
Yeah.
never done before, I think there's a couple that I think people are surprised when they see me posting about fishing, fly fishing.
Okay.
That tends to surprise people a lot for whatever they don't see me, I guess, as an outdoor kind of guy. But that tends to surprise people. But I think the other one is way back when I used to uh, horse show jump,
Oh,
right?
really?
Like, those, yeah. So when I was a kid, up until I was like 13, and then that stopped, and I started doing the more traditional golf. But no one's surprised I play golf. No one's
Right.
surprised I'm into basketball or any of these things. But I think those two in particular, and then sometimes I think everybody assumes everyone skis, but sometimes that surprises people that I like
Yeah.
skiing as much as I do.
No, skiing is fun. What's a signal that you look for to know that a message is landing?
I mean, I really do follow the likes. I really believe, we're early adopters of the social world, and social media. So I really think that's where I see it. And here's what sometimes when the reaction is negative,
Yeah.
or defensive is probably the better word, then I think, yeah, okay, we hit our target.
Right.
Sometimes when people are all happy go lucky about it, or maybe even passive aggressively not, being positive, it's usually when there's some debate that you've sparked.
Yeah.
That's when I feel like we've hit the target.
Okay. If you had an extra 10 minutes in your day, what would you do with it?
I think I would, walk in the woods with my dog. I've been finding that to be one of the calming, things that I do, and I don't do it enough. And I live in a really terrific place to go walk.
Yeah.
It's one of the most spectacularly beautiful places in the world. And, somebody the other day was saying, why would anyone come visit this city? And I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, they're like, there's nothing to do here. It was someone who lives here, so they're jaded. And I'm like, because look around. I mean,
Right.
there's just nothing like it. I don't care. There's lots of cities with bridges and water and all the rest, but nothing that looks like this in the Bay. So I think, getting out and seeing, that nature is really cool, and that's probably what I would do.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. Everyone out there really appreciates it. And you have a good rest of your day and rest of the weekend and all the other stuff.